Today's episode of Zcast features Zona's awesome fishing show, Season 15 Frog Solo Show in Minnesota, along with some Seth Feider footage from Season 14.
And you better buckle up, Buttercup.
He's the hook-setting, bass-smashing, mic-blasting, Hall of Fame, legend of legends, Mark Zona.
So here's what I thought. Why don't we get a little spicy to kick this thing off, okay?
Oh yeah, we're going first day of school, boys and girls, and let's make it a big one. Is there any better way to catch a bass than with a frog? I don't think so. Frog explosion, friendos. Well, it starts now. Hail bass.
So basically, it's cold. Wherever you are at right now, let's warm it up. You're probably sucking on coffee somewhere, getting ready for a wild card game or a playoff game. Let's start it off near and dear to my heart, near and dear to your heart, a Strike King sexy frog. For no better reason. Is there a better way to bass fish?
There's something about a frog, whether it's in open water or in cheese, that is so cool.
Eating a frog at 10 feet.
How pissed off a bass is at a frog. There is nothing better on earth than the sound of braided line in your guides when you torque back on that thing. And they're just in here slurping. Oh, nice, Seth. That was a slurper.
It's gladiator stuff, you know. Straight braid, no drag, and hand-to-hand combat with hogs.
Oh,
God.
Good.
Oh my God. Dude,
That's a
they're
big one.
everywhere. Hit the poles.
that's
They're
a big one.
loaded right there, dude. Did he just come off? No, he got it.
This will make you feel warm on a winter day watching this. This is bass fishing, dude. Hidden Gem Bay.
Oh, he's, yeah.
Yes.
Is there a better way to bass fish than throwing a frog? Now, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start right now. A frog actually started throughout the 80s being called a rat, right? Like the old moss mouse things that we all threw in high school. That's where a sexy frog came from. That's where it was born. But the greatest thing about frog fishing, it is visual, it is hand-to-hand combat. It is an F around and find out bait, because you never know when one gosh, how big it's going to be. Now, there's two different styles of frog fishing, and we're going to get into that today because I rig each frog differently per the cover that I'm throwing at. Like, you can look at this episode right here that I taped with Seth Feider a few years ago, where you're throwing in cheese, matted grass, and they have to get through it. Look at that footage.
You put on 65-pound braid and just start, you're at the batting cage. You're absolutely taking batting practice. Oh!
Mm-hmm. Hit him as hard as you can and drag him to the boat and flop him in the bottom. No drag, no chasing them around, no playing around. Frog fishing is the best fishing on planet Earth. End of story, period. There, you got it. Yes.
Stay hooked up. Yeah! That is heaven right there. Stay hooked up. Oh. That's a big one.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Cool. Dude,
Yeah.
look at that bass.
That was beautiful.
Oh my God.
Dinosaur.
It
Look
is
at him.
too.
Yeah.
Look here. Look at that. I mean, got it. Got it. That's a big one, dude. Hoy. How about that? Woo! Let's go. Ah!
Zona said this is exactly how he grew up fishing in Chicago. And it's the same way I grew up, just small natural lakes, full of vegetation, and you know, bass heaven pretty much.
I would fish every sewage pond and every single golf course pond. I've been kicked off every single country club in the Chicago suburbs fishing this way. There's something so you don't know what is coming through that mat next.
Is that just glorious? Explosion, like literally like children jumping off of a boat dock and goosh, right? Then the other side of that is gonna be more open water frog fishing, and that's what we're gonna talk about today. The reason I picked this show to dissect first, this Zona's Awesome Fishing Show, is I've never seen anything like I got to see. This is a small Minnesota lake that I don't even know how to describe what I witnessed.
Till you start the show, bud. Oh gosh. Oh gosh. Get over here. I got you. I got you. I mean, goodins, dude. Huh? He doesn't suck. Bass is only probably, say, they're 17 and a half inches. Look how that thing's built. Full-blown killer. I got you. I got you. I mean, goodins, dude. I think the show just started, friendos. Look at that.
Some of the lakes that are in Minnesota, not even Minnesota, even though we tape this show in Minnesota, one of the 10,000 lakes, throughout Texas and Oklahoma and Michigan where I live, all the way to New York and to Alabama, some of those hidden gems, okay, some of those small 1,000 to 2,000 acre hidden gems, public lakes, are just badass.
There are hidden gems throughout this country, farm lakes, public farm lakes that are totally ignored. And I got news, friends. It's time to go to the batting cages. Growing up, all of us, you know, that if you bass fish, all of us, you chase big bass in farm ponds, right? And the reason farm ponds are good, in my opinion, and I'm not a biologist, but there is something with the nutrients of soil and fertilizer that make a farm pond, that make bass big. What's interesting is there's certain areas of this country, whether it's in Michigan, it could be Alabama, Minnesota, where we're at one of the 10,000 lakes in Minnesota, where they're ag lakes. They're public, they get fished a lot. Public lakes near ag areas, farm areas. There's one mouth on it. What really drove us to do this shoot is for the last year is I watch areas that have public farm lakes, you know. We go through a lot of droughts, right? Except for about 60 days before this shoot, it rained like 6 to 10 inches. And I called the crew and said, we have got to go right now.
Ag lakes, okay? Lakes that are literally surrounded by crops, whether it's corn, bean, tomato, whatever it is. The reason why I've noticed throughout the years that those lakes are very, very high in nutrients, man. They have the right water color. The grass is very, very fertile. But the biggest dynamic in this show, if you look at some of the aerials and the drone shots, is I purposely went to this. Now, I've taped on this lake multiple times throughout the years. But the last 3 years in Minnesota, this area of Minnesota, has been a drought condition, okay? Then all of a sudden, it's 2004 when I taped this show, that area of Minnesota, and I was sitting here in southern Michigan, and I was staring at radar after radar after radar of fronts that were coming through. that turned a drought region into a flooded region. And when that happens, the wolf is coming. The wolf is coming shallow. The unique thing about what happened during this shoot, actually, I'm going to rewind. I'm going to go to the day before this shoot, before my crew got there, is these lakes swelled, okay? They actually swelled enough to almost connect to farm ponds that were adjacent to the lake, okay? So you're looking at a lake that rose 10 to 12 inches, and a lot of these connectors would have either culvert tubes or little rock barriers. Here's the best way to put this. Anything that lived in those farm ponds were coming into the public lake that I was fishing. So the day before, I was with my buddy, Casey Ellert. He works on Zona show all the time, every time I'm in Minnesota. And look at me stuttering. I'm so excited with what's going to happen right here. So I'm waiting for the crew to get there, and all of a sudden, we went through 2 areas. Yep, there's a few here, little culvert too. There's a few here. And I said, hey man, let me freestyle for a little bit, just looking on Google Earth, where I could see where that lake was making pinch points connecting to some of those ag ponds, right? It's the perfect storm. I went past one of those pinch points, and I'm not kidding, gang. It literally looked like carp. There was so many 3 to 6 pound bass, not in a 1 acre stretch, but in a 10-foot stretch. So anyway, I get all rigged up, ready to go. And whenever I'm taping a Zona show, I get massive, massive anxiety.
I told my sick nephew you'd catch him a biggin today. Oh, please don't embarrass me on my own SD card.
Don't worry. If you can't catch anything, I'll just zoom in on the beads of sweat dripping down your forehead.
And I told the crew, it's about to go down. It's gonna go down. And I tied on a pad perch, which is similar to a sexy frog. I just tied this on. And the way this show started is so ultra bizarre. The very first cast of the show, I turned around, I looked at cameraman Brian, I said, are you ready? And he's like, what do you mean? I said, they are right there. They're all right there. Call it 8 inches to 2 feet of water. And the show started off so busy. Let me take my shoes off and get comfortable here, guys. I throw the pad perch out, I miss a 4-pounder. The very next cast, a pike bites the pad perch off. The reason I like the pad perch in open water like this, not cheese frogging, open water, I can walk the dog back and forth, doom, doom, out of the package is perfect. And I'm in a frenzy. Pike bites it off, and I just reach down and I grab a sexy frog. Green pumpkin, orange throat, green pumpkin, orange throat. Tie it on, and the best way to put it, the next 3 hours is something that I've never seen, not taping, just bass fishing, how many big ones were condensed into confined areas, okay? The other thing is a sexy frog, okay? When they're on it, you own them. But the one thing that I'll do different, now I'm gonna go through everything, basically everything that I'm using. Lew's Greg Hackney frog rod, 7 foot 4 inches. Lew's Hyper Mag, and here's the biggest key on this reel. The biggest key on this reel is high speed. When one bites, I can instantly set the hook and torque. If you're looking through all of these fish catches, I hit them with, like, it's being at the batting cages back when you were 16 in front of your girlfriend. You're just swatting, right? It's almost like you're bowling and throwing heaters. But that reel is able to catch up with them when you hit them. Other thing, when I'm in open water, 65-pound Seagar Smackdown Stealth Gray Braid, it's very smooth, but I can get distance on this, being as slick as it is. If I'm in cheese, like the Seth Feider show, I'm gonna go to a Tactics. It's serrated, and it will cut that grass. So anyway, the number one thing with a sexy frog, when I open this pack, and this is the juice right here, guys. We're going to call this sexy frog, if you watch the show, we're going to call it Pippet.
This show went from the batting cages more to Jurassic Park. And you know, like that, the weird Jurassic Park where it was the theme park where that megalodon would come out and eat like a killer whale? That is what they were doing to Pippet. Injured Pippet, where Pippet passed on this show. But what the megalodons didn't know, and you can go under the water right now, Pippet had a child, it's Kong Jr. And Kong Jr. is here to play. Over and over, and here's the thing, Kong Jr. was taking licks, taking body shots, and punching his way out. For I am called Kong Jr. My father's name was Pippet. He was wounded in action. What are we doing?
One of the biggest pains whenever you're throwing a frog, one of the biggest pains that you have is constantly having to squeeze it and push water out of it. When you seal that nose with super glue, when you seal that nose, you are not going to get as much water in the cavity of the frog. And the less water you have in the cavity, the better you're going to actually hook up with the bass, okay? Next, and this is probably the biggest key for open water frogging, okay? We all want our sexy frogs to do this, or sit there and to get the most action out of that bait. Here is the full juice on this bait, okay? I'm gonna take 1 inch off of one side, okay? 3/4 inch off of the other side. That's gonna get it to start to wag, okay? This is the biggest key to making sure all of your frogs get that side to side to side, is you're gonna wanna take off of each side 7 strands out. That's a little tip Greg Hackney taught me years ago. He's gonna be pissed that I actually brought that up on here. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is take 7 off of that side. I'm gonna count 7 off of the other side, and by thinning that skirt out, now she's ready to go, okay? As far as walking, the very next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a pair of pliers and I'm gonna bend the hooks out to where they just lay on the cavity, so they're almost like a pitchfork instead of pointed in, okay? Last but not least, I don't have it right here, I'm gonna touch those hooks up with my wife's heel file, okay? I steal every single one of her heel files. I will steal them and just shave them. Now, if you want the perfect hook for it, get a 3/0 Trocar frog hook. All you have to do is basically change it internally, and that one's ready to go. But I want those daggers laying on the bait, not pointed in towards the bait. The biggest difference from open water frogging to cheese fishing, mat fishing, like if you go back to that Seth Feider footage, that is the exact frog that I used in that show. If you notice what I did, I trimmed both skirts equally, evenly, and shorter. When that cheese mat is out there, I want them to get that whole bait. I almost want in open water to have a little more commotion with that. Now the biggest thing, look man, these are bluegill killers, okay? These are bluegill killers, and as nuts as this sounds, those fish throughout the first spot, and I mean, look at that first spot. It was literally every single cast and then started again on the second spot. Those fish sit on those berms, or they sit in the mouth of those culverts, and basically ambush every single little bluegill that swims by. By the way, on Zcast, we're going to talk about bluegill as the key to big bass fishing. Bluegill is the focus of a bass's life.
Hey, friendos, real quick, if you want to watch the entire Zona's Awesome Fishing Show episode I'm referring to on Zcast today, go to myoutdoortv.com and use promo code ZONA30 for a 30-day free trial at checkout.
The other side of this bait, okay, that sexy frog, green pumpkin, orange throat, is almost transparent. Like if I hold it up into the light, it's very good in slightly off-colored water. It's very, very good when fish are on bluegill, okay? It almost mimics it. Every bluegill throughout the north and the south has a little bit of chartreuse, has a little bit of orange in it. That to me is probably, of all of my frog fishing, that all around is probably the best color, the most consistent color whenever I'm in more open water. So look, the show's going. The show's going. And the one thing that I noticed throughout this show is every single spot, okay, every single spot that I was catching them on that morning, that high water created trickle current between the first spot, certainly the second or third spot where there was that culvert tube, and that current on a lake that has been in a drought condition, that current is the fan that is bringing the buffet to their face, because they have not seen current for 3 to 4 years, right? So we get to the point, the show's done. The show is finished. And I look back on things like that to where you say to yourself, like, how many fish could literally get just in a 10-foot stretch? And every single spot had them. And what was funny was I only saw one boat the entire day on that lake that was bluegill fishing. I'm like, ooh, we got a secret one here, no doubt about it. So it's done, okay? Zona show shot. Open water, sexy frogging, and I was so blown away mentally. I said, hey, let's go shoot another Zona show, which we did it that day. We're finished. We're wrapped up by 10 a.m. We're wrapped up, and I looked at my buddy and I said, hey, can I keep my boat at your place? And he's like, yeah, what's up? And I said, I got to fly to ICAST. So that helps this time of year. I didn't even cover that off the top. This was in July, so these fish had just got done spawning, and they're eating. They're needing to get power. They're needing to get energy. And I looked at a forecast the next 10 days, and they're going to get more water. So I leave my boat. I fly down to Florida, and I looked at the Strike King, the Rather Outdoors production crew, and I said, hey, do you guys want to go tape the best frog bite? So naturally I'm thinking in my head that there's no way that this bite's gonna hold out for another 10 days. And it just kept raining and raining and raining and raining and raining. So I go down to Florida, come home, jump in my truck, and drive back. And this happened.
So we start out, and it's like gorillas in the mist. Foggy, ominous, menacing, insidious for what's coming. Pipit's gonna have a rough f***ing morning. I mean, like Caesar in Planet of the Apes. No. Frog show, Minnesota, explosions, beautiful goodness. 3, 2. Man, I love big water, going out chasing smallmouth from Michigan to Minnesota to largemouth in Texas with Greg Hackney. But there's something about a sexy frog. Literally on the first cast, this happened. Okay, there's a first cast. Guys are like, whoa, what's going on? Is there a party? I mean, like Caesar in Planet of the Apes. No! No! And just pour the coals to them. No drag, straight braid. Rusty, get ready. Coming right to you. Coming right to you. Where are you at?
The exact same areas. The exact same areas that I taped a Zona show 10 days later actually got better. Like, I ended that show in a pinch point, the Zona show. If you're looking at this footage, I ended it in a pinch point where you could see that entire cornfield behind me. And then I started there for the Pro Team Journal show, and there was more, and they were bigger.
You know, the years of Pro Team Journal, back when my beard was black, and doing this with the crew, I love big water, you know. I love waves, and I love the Great Lakes. But like, the older I get now, what I've learned is I kind of like to go back to how I started bass fishing a lot more now than I used to. And these days are days I don't take for granted. And I mean this when I say it. That stuff that you just is out there. And we have 9,999 lakes to go.
In 20 years of taping, that was honestly probably one of the most incredible topwater bites I've ever experienced, that I will ever experience. And I guess full circle, man, study those lakes that are surrounded by cornfields. Study those small ag lakes. Most of all, one of the biggest things that we want to do as fishermen, fisherwomen, is we want to, it's good grammar right there, I went to a community college, don't worry about it, is the biggest thing that we want to do is be in front of a bite. We don't want to be, hey, you want to go to this lake, they've been biting there. Generally, if you hear a lake that's on, it's already been throttled. And the main thing that I study is where massive fronts, wicked fronts are coming that area has not seen, not for a month, but they've maybe not seen for a year or two or three. If you connect all those dots together and go to those areas, you will hit that pot of gold. All right, so here's the deal, friends, is we're going to do a bunch of these. I need you to do that, the like and subscribe situation. And not only that, any of the Zona shows, the entire basically 15 to 20 years that we've done Zona show, go to myoutdoortv.com. We're going to do a ton of these. And not only that, if you're watching this and there's a technique specific lure, time of year that you want to learn, hit us up in the comments and we'll start knocking them out. Zcast 1 is done.
Gorillas in the Mist, Jane Goodall. The other thing is, there's something about a frog bite, you all know this, there's something about a frog bite that is magical. It brings you back to when you were a kid. Rusty, get ready. Coming right to you. Coming right to you. Boy, he was mad. He was mad. Ow, get out of my seat. Get over here. Get over here. Give me a high five. On camera, Rusty. Get it on camera, I said. And what's funny is, look, man, I love smallmouth. I love technology. I love using forward-facing sonar, but I love a frog way more. That is so rookie. That is so rookie. So rookie. Good and big and not as big as I thought. Let me show you Pipit real quick. You ready? Look at this. Look at this poor son of a bitch. You know what that is? That's a bad night out right there, friendo.